Welcome to RGR Academy. This is biology session. We move on to the paper discussion. Alright. The topic today we're going to discuss about the living world, that is bioclassification. Alright. First question. Syphilis. Syphilis is caused by. They given the four options out of this because we discussed already about the syphilis. There are a group of organisms called spirochetes which comes under Treponema pallidum, Leptospira, Interrogans, Borrelia. These are some of the species which comes under the spirochetes. Usually you could see these bacteria under the dark field microscope, but this question, the syphilis, the causative agent of syphilis is Treponema pallidum, because Treponema pallidum is the spirochete, whereas virus which will not cause syphilis, and nostoc is an algal group, diatoms that it comes actually. So Treponema pallidum is the correct answer. So option 2 is the correct answer for this particular question 91. Question number 92. Bacteria which converts the nitrogen of the air to nitrogenous compounds are called. So which type of bacteria? This again very common question. This we study the nitrogen cycle, different phases of nitrogen cycle that we discussed: ammonification, nitrification, denitrification, right? So how nitrate will converts to nitrate, right? This process, if you are very thorough in this particular process, which type of bacteria which usually performs this nitrogen fixation mechanism? They given nitrogen fixing bacteria, nitrifying bacteria, denitrifying and putrefying. For this, the correct option is nitrifying bacteria. We study Nitrococcus, Nitrosomonas. These are the types of bacteria which usually responsible for fixing this nitrogen of the air of nitrogenous compounds. So the correct option is 2. Next, transverse group, question number 93. Transverse group present in dinoflagellates. So the dinoflagellates are a harmer. So usually this type of flagellates, we call it as a harmer flagellates. And main feature of the dinoflagellates which carries two types of flagella. One is transverse flagella, other one is a longitudinal flagella. Having this in your mind, so the transverse groove which present in case of the dinoflagellates. Question number 93. Dinoflagellates. Dinoflagellates. Coming to this part, dinoflagellates, you could see the dinoflagellates, see the structures like this, the dinoflagellates. You could see two type of flagella, one flagella which goes like this, the other flagella which comes like this actually. So this will be spinning like two type of flagella that you could see as far as dinoflagellate is concerned. And this is actually, we have sulcus and cingulum. Sulcus and cingulum, both options that you could see in this case. So generally this occurs covered by the theca. We call it as a theca and lorica. We call it as it's covered by theca and we call it as a lorica. So this consists of two grooves actually. This one groove and this other groove. So this consists of the dinoflagellates which consist of two grooves, and these two grooves are called it as sulcus. These two grooves are called as sulcus, and transverse grooves is called as, so longitudinal, I told you longitudinal and transverse. So sulcus, and the other transverse groove is called as cingulum. The other transverse groove is called as cingulum. Okay. So cingulum, this we call it as an annulus or girdle. We call it as an annulus or girdle. So having this in your mind, we go with the next option, that is both 2 and 3. So it consists of sulcus and cingulum. So one is for transverse, the other one is for the longitudinal. So having this in our mind, we go with this option. Alright guys, so we go with the option 4, that is both 2 and 3. Next we move on to the next question. The term species, 94 question. The term species coined by, who's coined the term species? It's coined by John Ray, because Linnaeus, Engler, Aristotle is not actually they coined the species. The John Ray, actually John Ray coined this particular term species in the year 1693. So question number 94, John Ray in the year 1693 he coined the term species. Okay. So next is, in which of the following taxonomy is equal weightage given in equal of thousands of characters than that of the taxon exhibits? What is the name of the taxonomy here? The taxonomy is called as numerical taxonomy. Numerical taxonomy, it's known to be the Andersonian taxonomy. We call it Andersonian taxonomy. In numerical taxonomy, many characters are possible and employed for evaluating degree of similarity and differences. All characteristics used in analytics for equal, that is given equal weightages and importance. Andersonian, that is a taxonomy that we should give for a numerical taxonomy. Okay. So option 4 is the correct answer. Question number 96. In Whittaker's 5 kingdom concept, the classification, unicellular eukaryotes, primarily aquatic and have various cell organelles, constitutes. So this constitutes of protista. So unicellular eukaryote, when you talk about the 5 kingdom concept, we're talking about the 5 kingdom concept. This is question number 96. Question number 96, we could see the 5 kingdom concept. You to talk about, like, the 5 kingdom. So this we talk about Monera. This talk about Monera. This we talk about Protista. Here we have fungi, we have plantae, and we have Animalia here. Right. So coming to this part, the Monera part, this usually the prokaryotes. And again, this Monera in the 6 kingdoms has been divided into Archaebacteria and Eubacteria. Archaebacteria and Eubacteria. And coming to this part, the Protista are, it's a unicellular prokaryotes. It's a unicellular prokaryotes. So Protista is the correct answer for this particular question. So question number 96, option 3 is the correct answer. 97, all the synthesis reactions in the body form a division of metabolism. The division of metabolism, which we call it as anabolism. So we call it as an anabolism because anabolism reaction consists of a series of synthetic reaction, and synthetic reactions usually which requires energy. So anabolism, coming to this part, anabolism which requires energy. Fine. So 97, it's the option 2 is the correct answer. 98, lichens indicates SO2 pollution because the reason, what is the reason for this? This is option 2 because these are all sensitive to SO2 because lichens are very sensitive to air pollution. So that's the reason we call the lichens are indicators, that is bioindicators. Lichens are indicators for air pollution. So indicators for melanism, industrial melanism, the concept you have studied there also you could see, like, based on the dark and the grey mouth, like we can differentiate it because lichens usually which grows where the pollution is comparatively less because it is sensitive to SO2. So that's the reason we call it as lichens are biological indicators. So with this we can go for second option because the reason is this SO2 causes plasmolysis of the algae and converts chlorophyll of algae into pheophytin by removing the magnesium. Pheophytin results in chlorosis and it leads to the death of the lichens. The lichens are the symbiotic relationship between the algae and the fungi that you can see. So this acts like an indicator, so it is sensitive to SO2. Question number 99, why bacteria can be considered as fission fungi? Because it shows, why the reason is it shows fission and the fungal characters. There is some, because the bacteria we could see the asexual mode of reproduction. As far as asexual mode of reproduction is concerned, this can show even the budding formation, it leads to the fragmentation, right? There are different sporulation that you can even consider, like, but since the characteristic fissions, binary fissions is like that of the mainly of that fungi, so for that reasons it shows the fission and the fungal characteristics, right? Budding also. So for this reason we go with the option 2, shows fission and the fungal characters. Question number 100. Mycolic acid is present in cell wall of pathogen called. So where this particular mycolic acid is present, this acid which present when you see the 4 bacterial species, this you could see in the tuberculosis. The causative agent is Mycobacterium species. In the Mycobacterium tuberculosis, where the Mycobacterium, this releases the mycolic acid, and this is called as cod factor. Question number 100, we call it as tuberculosis which caused by Mycobacterium, And this mycobacterium, this produce the cod factor. This produce the cod factor. Okay, and this produces mycolic acid. So for question number 100, 1 is the correct answer. Question 101. Coming to 101, the question, which of the following is not recognized by botanist? You could see out of 4 options, tautonym. Tautonym is the correct answer. Option 3 is the correct answer. Question number 102. Biochemical resemblance is generally used for the identification of which group of individuals? We told the biochemical resemblance is actually identification for Monera. You could see we could have seen like Enterobacteriaceae family also, like Invictus, Indole, MR, methyl red, Vox prosper, citrate test. These are the different biochemical tests which usually apply for the Monera group, that is for the bacterial species, the prokaryotes are concerned. So we go with the first option, that is Monera. Question number 103. Yeast cell divides by, how the yeast cells divides? Yeast divides by mitosis. We think only by mitosis, but it can go with the amitosis also. So it can reproduce by mitosis as well as amitosis. So option 1 is the correct answer. 104. A scientist ever made significant contribution in the field of classification. So this we know, like Carolus Linnaeus. Carolus Linnaeus, as far as classification is concerned, the living world classification, most of the contributions that was given by this particular scientist named Carolus Linnaeus. So the option is 4. 4 is the correct answer. But Oprin and all we could see in the case of like the evolution part, Darwin also the finches part, right, that you could see. Pasteur in case of microbiology and microorganisms that you could see. But only the odd man here out is for the classification is Carolus Linnaeus. So option 4. Question number 105. Elotelism is the term used for the symbiosis of, this is symbiosis, elotelism that we can use for the algae and the fungi. Each one where you could see one partner where it will give benefits for the other. So mutually what happens, like two partners will be equally benefited. For example, fungus in lichens that you could see and benefit more than that of the algae. Okay, more than the other. So you could see like 2 partners, like one fungi. If lichens you take, like fungi is there, algae is also there. In case of question number 105, you could see in case of lichens you could see algae is a relationship between the algae and the fungi you take. Even though like both are actually like having a symbiotic relationship, fungi and algae both having a relationship between each other, where you could see that fungi is getting more of benefits. Fungi is getting more benefits when compared to the algae. Even though both are symbiotic, even though both are like mutualistic, like involved in the process, right, in the interaction, but fungi is mostly like more benefited when compared to algae. So this process that we call it as elotism. We call it as elotism. Okay, so we're done with 105. Question number 106. Regeneration. Look at the 2 statements. Regeneration is quite common in plants. Statement 2. Animals such as sponge, planaria, hydra can generate the whole body from a part. For this particular question, both the statement, that is 1 and 2 are true, but statement 2 is not the correct explanation of the statement 1, because the regeneration is the ability. What is the ability? It's the ability of replacing of the lost structure, right? So gene regeneration is quite common in plants, are found in some lower animals that you could see in a planaria, hydra, sponges, etc. So for having this in a mind, like we go with the first option. Next question number 107. The total heat energy content as of a system is called as, what is the total energy content of a system? Is enthalpy. Enthalpy is the term that we give for this particular thing. Next question number 108. Taxonomical aids. Taxonomical aids are usually we give for all of this, vasculum, FAV, and you could do mercury chloride. All the things that you could see, taxonomic aid of all the things. So question number is 108. 4th is the correct answer. Question 109. 109. Distinction of prokaryotes and eukaryotes is mainly based on what? Like there is distinct difference that we usually think only based on difference between the nucleus, but it is not only the nucleus, the cellular organelles, the chromosomes, all the structures of the cell together. Based on this, we classify prokaryotes and eukaryotes. So option 4 is the correct answer, all the above for question 109. Question 1110. Yeast is employed for the production. So production of what? Ethyl alcohol. So that is C2H5OH. So question number 1110. 1110 C2H5OH. This ethyl alcohol, this produced from glucose. C6H12O6 is the glucose. From the glucose, the ethyl alcohol can be produced. Alcohol produced plus carbon dioxide, and this by means of yeast. This yeast usually we call as baker's yeast or Saccharomyces cerevisiae. So option 4 is the correct answer. Question 111. There you could see 111. Which of the following is not a taxon but a category? It's not a taxon. Where you could see question 111, the division. Division is not a taxon but is a category, because you know the categories like genus, species, division, family, like all those things like which comes like. So it is not a taxon but a category. So option 4 is the correct answer for this particular question. Question 112. 112. Fermentation is by some fungi and some bacteria. It's not only for fungi, but also fermentation takes place by means of bacterial species. So option 4 is the correct answer. Question 113. 113. Hydrolysis is the dash reaction. What type of reaction the hydrolysis? It's if you see the 4 option, the correct option is cleavage reaction. So hydrolysis is a cleavage, because what happens in the hydrolysis, the cleavage reaction, and it is necessary for the digestion of the enzyme, the large nutrients which will be get digested by means of the enzyme. So question number 113, cleavage is the correct answer. 114. Maximum energy is required to break for which type of bonds, like ionic bonds, hydrogen bonds, van der Waals, like all these which doesn't require much of energy. But in case of covalent bonds, like which requires, because covalent bonds share, electrons hold the atoms together, so which holds the atoms together, so usually they are what? Very strong when compared to other type of bonds. So question 114, 1 is the correct answer. Question 115. Statement 1, resolving power is the ability to distinguish between two close points. Statement 2, microscope reduces resolving power. Looking at these two statements, the correct option is the statement 1 is true, but the statement 2 is false. So when we justify, why? Because resolving power is the ability of what? Ability to distinguish two closely placed objects, right? As distinct resolving power of the naked eye is actually 100 nanometer. It's 100 mm, you could see. It is 100. Question number 115. 115, the resolving power of the naked eye is 100 mm. Compound microscope has got 0.25 to 0.3, and electron microscope is 10 angstrom. So microscope increases what? Microscope increases resolving power. So for this question, option 2 is the correct answer. Question number 126. The ionization of a sodium atom to produce sodium is an example of oxidation. So we to go for the oxidation for question number yeah. Before that, actually, I think we go with 116. Sorry guys, we go with 116. The cilia in Paramecium. The cilia in Paramecium are longer at the posterior end. It's longer at the posterior end because the cilia of extreme posterior end are longer and form a bunch which call it as a caudal. Caudal tuft, because of Paramecium which comes as a Ciliophora, the family called as Ciliophora, where you could see this type of the cilia, you could see it is longer at the posterior end. So option 4 is the correct answer. Question number 117. Yeast produces an enzyme complex that is responsible for fermentation. The enzyme complex is zymase. As already told you, the yeast which produce an enzyme called as zymase. Okay, yeast, the main enzyme is zymase. Okay, and for this is the correct answer for question 117 also. Question number 118. What is the false for the nutrition in amoeba? Amoeba cannot be autotroph. It is holozoic, it is omnivorous, it is pseudopodia feeder. All these are correct. But amoeba cannot be a autotroph. So option 1 is the correct answer for question number 118. Okay. Next we go to the next question. Question number 119. Question number 119. The term phylum in animal classification is actually who coined this, the term animal classification, is by G.L. Cuvier. G.L. Cuvier is the person who termed the animal classification. So option 1 is the correct answer. Fine. Question number 120. The caudal organisms of that is it's the causative organism. The causative organisms of Kala Azar is Leishmania donovani. Leishmania donovani, which caused this particular disease called as Kala Azar. So option 2 is the correct answer. Plasmodium vivax, which cause malaria. Trypanosoma lucei, this is called trypanosome-meiosis, that is African sleeping sickness and all, Chagas disease that you would have studied. Uchigia bancrofti, which cause elephantiasis. But Kala Azar, which caused by Leishmania donovani, that also by means of the fly, that insects which is responsible for this. Like we would have studied about this life cycle also. Question number 121. Gametic meiosis occurs in a protist, which are where the gametic meiosis takes place. It usually occurs in the diploid cycle. If it is studied like haploid cycle, haplodiplontic cycle, as well as the diploid cycle, having this in your mind, so the correct option that you could see, gametic meiosis, both will take place. This will take place in case of option 2, that is diploid. Okay. Question number 122. Certain dyes can be used even in case of living materials. Statement 2 that you could see, they are called as vital stains. Having these two statements in our mind, both statement 1 and statement 2 are true, but statement 2 is the correct explanation for the statement 1. So with this we go with option 2 for question number 122. Next question 123. Which of the following is an edible fungi? Edible fungi, you would have heard about all the terms like mucor, rhizopus, penicillium, but these are not edible. These are disease causing sometimes, and this can even cause contamination of food, vegetables like that. But agaricus, which is a mushrooms that we call it as, but simply they given only agaricus, you go with agaricus. But if you take amantia, even mushrooms, like all mushrooms are not edible. There are certain poisonous mushrooms also that you can see, like amantia. Amantia is brightly colored mushroom and it is toxic. It can produce mycotoxin. But agaricus bisporus, if you see, it's all edible mushrooms. We have like shell mushroom, button mushroom, which won't be having like appealing structure or colorful structure. So agaricus are in common, they given agaricus, you go with agaricus, but agaricus bisporus if they given. For example, question number 123. Agaricus bisporus along with other species of agaricus if they given, you just go with an option agaricus bisporus. If they given just agaricus with other group of fungi, then go with the just agaricus itself. So question number 123, option 2 is the correct answer. Question 124. Species which was coined by, we discussed about John Ray, who coined this term, is a specific unit of evolution. So option 2 is the correct answer. It's a direct question. 125. Microsomal fraction includes microsome, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi bodies, microbodies. Statement 2, it separates out of for 60 minutes. Like if you take these two statements, both statement 1 and statement 2 are true, and the statement 2 is the correct explanation of the statement 1. We go with option 2 because we discussed already about the resolving power and the magnifications when we talking about the previous question. I think this particular question number 115 we discussed, right? It's same like that of 125 also. Okay, the same explanation. 126. The ionization of sodium atom to produce sodium is an example for oxidation. You know the difference like oxidation, reduction, anabolism, catabolism, these basic concepts, right? So for this particular question, ionization of sodium atom to produce sodium is an example for oxidation. So for question number 126, 2 is the correct answer. Question 127. Oxospores and harmospores are formed respectively. Oxospores are which organisms produce oxospores? Diatoms. Diatoms are produced oxospores, and harmospores produced by cyanobacteria, a few cyanobacteria species which has the ability to produce this type of harmocyst, it can be produced. For this question, option 1 is the correct answer for 127. Next we move on to 128. 128, death is one of the important regulator process of earth, and statement 2, it avoids overcrowding caused by the continuous reproduction. For this you take both the statement, like both statement 1 and 2 are true. Yes, it is true, both the statement is true, but the statement true is actually correct explanation of the statement 1. So there's correlation between the statement 1 and 2, so there is no deviation among these two statements. So we go with the second option for the question number 128. Question 129, which is absent in nostoc? Nostoc, you could see motile cells, sex organs, both are absent. Motile cells are absent as well as sex organs, both that you could not see in case of nostoc actually, because nostoc we call it as jewels, but at the same time it produces the silical wall, right? We call it diatomaceous here. But when you see the structure of nostoc, where you could not see the motile, it's not motile, and also the sex organs that you could not see in the nostoc cells. Having this in our mind, you go with option 3 for this question number 129. Question number 130. 130, you could see two statements. That is statement 1, that is old age is not an illness, it's a continuation of the life with a decreasing capacity of adaptation. Statement 2, cessation of mitosis, normal genetic program even. This basic understanding that vegetative phase, reproductive phase and the senescence phase. So many of the time we think like senescence is a death phase where the organisms will not survive. Organisms will survive in senescence phase, but almost nearing to the death phase. It means all the metabolic function seems to be ceased at that point of time. It's not going to die immediately because it's a gradual process. Almost it's nearing to the death phase. It doesn't mean it's dead. The metabolic reaction is going to get ceased off. That is what actually the real meaning of senescence phase. Okay. So having this in your mind for these two statements, you could see option 3. The statement 1 is true, but the statement true is a false because the statement true has no correlation or any relation with the statement 1. Okay, so option 3 is the correct answer for this particular question. Question number 131. Statement 1, water shows hydrolytic splitting. Statement 2, water has high thermal conductivity. They are given two statements related with water. Now we look at these 4 options. Out of this, you see the first option, that is both statement 1 and statement 2 are true, but statement 2 is not the correct explanation of the state, because the first statement that shown water shows the hydrolytic activity or hydrolytic splitting. You know photolysis of water that you would have studied when you study about chemiosmotic hypothesis, where the photolysis water, what happens, like 2 protons and 2 electrons and half nascent oxygen which can be eliminated, and what happens, these 2 protons were pumped out by means of ATPase synthase, and this combined with the NADPH, and this forms a reducing part. This is what you studied actually, but this is how the first statement shows. What the second statement, water has high thermal conductivity, because second statement has no connectivity with the first statement, but both the statement are correct, but second statement has no relevant validity with the first statement. So we go with the first option. Question number 132. Cladonia rangiferina is an example. It's not an algae, it's not a fungus, it's not an angiosperm also. So what is cladonia? Cladonia is a lichens. You know the lichens like the Rhaphiphorus lichens, we have Rabinose lichens, we have different types of the lichens. What is the lichen? Lichen is the symbiotic relationship between the algae and the fungi. So Cladonia rangiferina is a type of, we discuss the lichens here in this part. So this is for 132 as well. So 132 lichens, you could see an example, cladonia. If any word cladonia comes, is related with the lichens. I told you these lichens can also be used as a bioindicators, and if you would have studied already in the industrial melanism. If that particular area where there is more pollution, definitely the lichens cannot grow, because if lichens are not present, then definitely come to conclusion that particular area, because of the industrial smokes and soot and everything is getting increased, highly polluted area, this lichens cannot grow. It clearly shows the area is completely polluted. So correct option is 1.